Here is the uncomfortable truth. Learning more English may be the reason you still cannot speak it.
Fluency does not come from knowing more. It comes from using the English you already know. Let us start.
Emma, when learners hear the word fluent, what do they usually imagine?
So if you have ever, frozen mid-sentence while trying to speak a new language, you definitely know that exact creeping panic we are talking about today.
Oh, yeah. It is terrifying.
Right. You are just standing there, the silence stretches out, and the words you know perfectly well on paper just completely vanish from your brain.
Exactly.
So welcome to the deep dive. We are looking at some really fascinating insights today, aimed primarily at beginner to intermediate English learners.
Yeah, but honestly, the psychology we are unpacking, it applies to anyone trying to bridge that gap between knowing something and actually doing it.
Totally. And the core mission of today's deep dive is to unpack that controversial hook we just heard. Like why obsessively learning more vocabulary might actually be the exact thing paralyzing your ability to speak.
It completely upends how most of us are taught to learn, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because we are culturally conditioned to believe that input equals output. Like if you memorize 1,000 advanced flashcards, you will automatically become a better speaker.
Right, which sounds logical.
It does. But language isn't a trivia game. It is a real-time motor and cognitive skill. So the sources we are exploring today argue that this relentless pursuit of new vocabulary, it actively damages your fluency.
Wow, actively damages it.
Yeah, because it trains your brain to constantly search for the most complex tool rather than, reaching for the tool that is already in your hand.
That makes so much sense. And we are going to break down 3 specific actionable methods from the source today that will help you maximize the vocabulary you already possess.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get into these.
Me too. Let's actually pick up on that question from the opening quote. What do learners actually imagine when they hear the word fluent?
Oh, this is such a good question.
The source material dives into this, and it really highlights how our own expectations just set us up to fail.
Right.
Because when I think of a fluent speaker, I picture someone talking incredibly fast, using these beautifully complex, winding sentences.
Packed with academic words.
Yes. And crucially, they never pause or make a single grammatical mistake.
But look at what you just described. That isn't fluency. That is a performance.
Performance, yeah.
And treating a casual conversation like a theatrical performance is just this massive cognitive burden.
Oh, absolutely.
When a learner tries to live up to that fantasy, they are monitoring their grammar, they are searching for high-level vocabulary, they are monitoring the listener's reaction.
And trying to speak quickly.
All at the exact same time. The brain simply cannot handle that much simultaneous processing. Real fluency is much more mundane, but, it is much more powerful.
Right. It's just about connection.
Exactly. It is simply the flow of communication. It is expressing an idea, responding, and keeping the exchange moving. You might pause. You might use incredibly basic words.
But the connection between you and the other person does not break.
Precisely.
The source gives a great concrete example of this contrast. Say you want to tell someone why you missed a meeting.
Okay.
The performance version, like the one we all strive for, it sounds like I was exhausted, so I postponed the appointment.
Right, which sounds impressive. It sounds like a textbook.
Exactly. But a truly fluent learner can communicate that exact same reality by just saying, I was very tired, so I changed the meeting to another day.
Notice the difference in the underlying mindset there, though. The first speaker is asking their brain, what is the most sophisticated, impressive way I can phrase this?
Right, trying to show off.
Yeah. But the second speaker is asking, what is the clearest way I can communicate this idea using words I can access right this second?
Fluency isn't about scanning a mental dictionary for the perfect word. It's about rapidly deploying the words you can consistently rely on.
Exactly. Which brings us to this really fascinating trap the sources talk about.
Oh, the knowledge trap.
Yes. Or relying on passive English. This really struck a chord because it explains the exact moment of that mental freeze.
Yeah, break that down for us, because I know so many people experience that.
So the knowledge trap happens because our reading comprehension is almost always vastly superior to our speaking ability.
Sure.
A learner might easily recognize thousands of advanced words when reading an article. Words like exhausted, reluctant, or undecided.
And so they logically assume they know those words.
Right. But passive recognition relies on the context of the page to trigger the meaning. Speaking requires active recall. You have to generate the word out of thin air.
Under the social pressure of a live conversation, no less.
Right, so the freeze happens because you start a sentence aiming for that advanced word you recognize on paper, but your active recall isn't strong enough to pull it up in real time.
Wow. So you want to say you were exhausted, your brain searches for it, comes up empty, and instead of instantly swapping to a simpler word, the brain gets stuck in a loop.
Yes, trying to retrieve exhausted.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the silence is growing, adrenaline starts pumping, and that fight-or-flight response literally shuts down the language centers in your prefrontal cortex.
That is terrifying. So you freeze, completely bypassing all the perfectly good, simple words you already know, just because you are holding out for the perfect word.
It is a trap. And they prove how ridiculous this trap is with this brilliant little test in the source material, using just 7 of the most basic English words imaginable.
Oh, I love this part. Okay, just listen to this list. The words are want, go, because, but, maybe, today, and tired.
That is it.
That is it. A toddler knows those words, but look at the complex thought you can build by just stringing them together. I want to go, but maybe not today because I am tired.
It is remarkably elegant.
Right.
Those 7 basic words are doing a tremendous amount of communicative heavy lifting because they're connected properly.
But so many adult learners will just completely ignore those foundational words.
Because they are busy drilling flashcards for words like reluctant. And then, in a real-time conversation, the pressure hits, the advanced word isn't there, and they just stare blankly.
Listening to this, I keep picturing this scenario. It is almost like a library, right?
Okay, a library.
Yeah, so you have this massive, gorgeous building full of thousands of advanced books. You own the building, but you haven't actually read any of the books inside.
Right.
Versus having just a tiny, dog-eared travel guidebook in your back pocket that you have read 100 times. Knowing a word on a vocabulary list is not the same as owning it.
Wow, yeah.
You only truly own a word when you can pull it out of your pocket and use it instantly on the street.
That captures the illusion perfectly. You are measuring your linguistic capability by the sheer square footage of your unread library, rather than your actual ability to navigate the streets using the guidebook.
So good.
The fundamental shift here is to stop measuring your progress by how many words you understand, and start measuring it by how many ideas you can actively express with the tools you already own.
Okay, so if we know that hoarding vocabulary is a trap, how do we actually start using our guidebook? Like, how do we bypass that cognitive overload and get the words flowing without freezing?
To bypass the freeze, we have to look at the mechanics of sentence construction. The source argues that learners need to completely abandon the habit of building sentences one single word at a time.
Which is how everyone does it at first.
Right. But think about the cognitive load of doing that. You choose a word, check the grammar, choose the next word, check the tense, translate a preposition, check the subject-verb agreement.
It is exhausting. Just hearing you say it is exhausting.
Exactly. It's an exhausting way to speak. So the alternative is to practice small speaking chunks.
Meaning groups of words that naturally stay together, like a prepackaged phrase.
Yes.
The source lists a few of these, like the reason is, or it depends on. Also, what I mean is I think, I do not think, and the problem is.
Functionally, these chunks act as an on-ramp to your thought. By having the first 3 or 4 words of a sentence fully automated, you give your brain a massive head start.
You aren't building the foundation from scratch every time you open your mouth.
Right. While your mouth is automatically saying, the reason is your brain is using those 2 seconds to figure out the rest of the sentence.
Oh, it buys you processing time. I love that. And they emphasize how versatile one single chunk can be. Like, take I am not sure, but
Yeah, that's a great one.
with that one starting point, you can navigate so many different scenarios. Like, I am not sure, but I think the store closes at 9. Or, I am not sure, but we can check online. Or, I am not sure, but I would like to try.
You have one key that unlocks 3 different doors.
Right. But, let me push back on this for a second.
Okay, go for it.
If I am an adult professional, maybe sitting in a business meeting, and I am constantly starting sentences with, I think, or the reason is, aren't I going to sound a bit, I don't know, elementary?
It is a very common anxiety, especially for professionals who want to project competence in a second language.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of learners avoid these phrases because they feel childish compared to, like, complex transitional phrases.
But the source completely dismantles this worry. They point out that native speakers use these exact simple chunks constantly, in boardrooms, in universities, everywhere.
Wait, really? Just the simple ones?
Absolutely. Because native speakers prioritize speed, clarity, and flexibility over sounding like a 19th century essayist.
That is hilarious, but true.
In spontaneous spoken communication, complex transitional phrases actually sound unnatural and stiff. True fluency is about efficient communication. Those simple chunks are the glue that holds natural conversation together.
Okay, so chunks get the engine started, they get you on the conversational road, but even with a strong start, your brain is eventually going to hit a gap mid-sentence where a specific word used to be.
Right.
You're cruising along, and suddenly the exact noun you need vanishes. How do you stop the whole thought from just collapsing in on itself?
This is where we shift from sentence building to what they call one idea, three ways.
One idea, three ways.
Okay. The underlying logic here is semantic flexibility, creating alternate routes to the exact same meaning. Because, as we know, live conversations are highly unpredictable.
Definitely.
If you only have one rigidly specific sentence memorized to express a feeling, and you forget one single word in that sentence, the entire structure fails. You are stuck.
Oh, so it's like a GPS rerouting you.
Yes.
Like if you are driving to a destination and a tree falls across the main road, meaning you forgot the crucial word, you don't just turn off the car, throw your hands up, and live in the intersection forever.
No, you don't.
You take a side street to reach the exact same destination.
That is exactly the cognitive shift that needs to happen.
Yeah.
Let's look at the sources example. Imagine you want to express the specific thought. The restaurant was disappointing.
Right, but mid-sentence, the word disappointing feels too complex to pronounce, or your brain just drops it entirely.
Most learners in that moment will stop, panic, and try to force their brain to find disappointing. But instead of stopping, you take the side street. You could say, the food was not very good. Or you could say, I expected it to be better. Or even, I do not think I will go there again.
And the listener receives the exact same message, like, you did not like the restaurant. The communication succeeds. You literally do not need the missing word.
Exactly. You are bypassing the brain's perfectionism trap. You are dropping the exact translation in favor of a functional translation.
That is so freeing.
The source provides another common example.
Yeah.
You want to say, I do not want to go out tonight, but maybe you feel stuck on the phrasing. Route 1, I want to stay home tonight. Route 2, I am too tired to go out. Route 3, maybe we can go out tomorrow instead. You just keep moving forward.
I love how actionable the advice is for this, too. They suggest practicing this specific technique for just 5 minutes a day.
Yeah.
You pick one simple thought about your real life, and you force yourself to say it out loud in 3 different basic ways. It sounds like you're actively training your brain's flexibility, teaching it not to panic when the main road is blocked.
You are building neural pathways for resilience.
Wow.
You are teaching your brain that there is never only one way to say something.
Okay, but let's take it a step further into, like, the worst-case scenario.
Uh-oh.
We have chunks for starting and rerouting for minor roadblocks. But what if the GPS completely crashes?
Total system failure.
Yes. What if your mind goes entirely, completely blank in the middle of a real face-to-face conversation? The silence stretches out, you're staring at the other person, they're staring at you. I mean, that is the nightmare.
It is arguably the most agonizing experience in language learning.
Yes.
And what is critical to understand here is the psychology of what you do next.
Okay.
When the mind goes blank and that awkward silence starts, the standard learner's reaction is to look away, stop speaking entirely, and start translating frantically in their native language inside their head.
Which, if I am the person listening, just feels incredibly awkward.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I don't know if you were thinking, if you were finished, or if you didn't understand me. The silence just gets heavier.
Precisely. You have dropped the conversational floor. So, to prevent this, the sources introduce rescue phrases.
Rescue phrases.
Yes. Instead of retreating into your own panic and translating silently, you use specific phrases that serve 2 vital functions. First, they buy your brain cognitive processing time. Second, they signal to the listener that you are still actively engaged.
Okay.
You are telling their nervous system and your own, I am still here, I'm still communicating, hold on.
Oh, it's a buffer. You're taking control of the pause instead of letting the pause control you.
Exactly.
The phrases they suggest are brilliantly simple. Things like, let me think, or how can I say this? Or, what I mean is, and my absolute favorite, I do not know the word but.
Oh, I do not know the word, but it's just a masterstroke.
Right.
Because it instantly lowers the social pressure. You are admitting the gap, which makes the listener lean in to help you rather than judge you.
Yeah.
And the rule they establish for what to do after you use that phrase is key. When you forget a word, simply describe it. Say what the object does, where you find it, or how it makes you feel.
Okay, let's look at how this plays out in their examples.
Yeah.
So say you are telling a story and you completely lose the phrase dry cleaner.
Okay.
You don't freeze and stare at your shoes. You deploy your rescue phrase and say, I do not know the word, but it is a place where you take clothes to be cleaned.
And human nature dictates that the native speaker you are talking to will instantly jump in and say, ooh, a dry cleaner.
Yes, you collaborated. The conversation didn't die. Here is their second example. You forget the word outgoing. You say, my brother is very, how can I say this? He talks to everyone and makes friends easily.
Notice how much more advanced that makes the speaker sound compared to just standing there in silence.
So true.
Fluent speakers aren't perfect dictionaries. They just know how to repair a sentence dynamically without abdicating their turn to speak.
Yeah.
They don't view a forgotten word as a failure. They view it as a momentary detour that they could just narrate their way out of.
This all builds to the live challenge they present in the source, which is designed to drag these concepts out of the textbook and into reality.
Oh, this challenge is great.
Yeah, they point out that learners often study English disconnected from their actual identity. Like, they are memorizing phrases like, the global economy is fluctuating, but they literally can't explain what they did over the weekend.
Which is wild.
Right. Your most vital English is the English you need for your actual life.
And that is why the parameters of their 30-second challenge are so effective. It forces you to synthesize everything we've discussed. So, chunks, rerouting, and rescue phrases, all using your own personal context.
Let's actually talk through how this challenge works, because I want you, the listener, to try it. They give you 3 everyday questions, and you have to answer them out loud for 30 seconds without stopping, using only simple English.
30 seconds straight?
Yep. The questions are, what do you like to do after a busy day? What is something you want to improve this year? And tell us about a place you would like to visit.
The key is the continuous speech. If you forget a word, you cannot stop. You must describe it and keep moving.
Okay, I'm going to try this live with the second question. What is something you want to improve this year? Let's see. The reason is, wait, no. I think I want to improve my, how can I say this? The thing where you put seeds in the dirt outside your house. Gardening. I want to improve my gardening because I like being outside.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, that was incredibly clunky, but it didn't stop.
But look at what your brain just successfully executed.
Really?
Yes. You start with a chunk, you realize it was the wrong one, you rerouted, hit a mental blank on gardening, deployed a rescue phrase, how can I say this? Described the action, put seeds in the dirt, arrived at the word, and finished the thought.
Wow, okay.
That is the exact neurological pathway of true fluency.
You know, it felt surprisingly empowering to just push through the mistake instead of stopping to apologize for it.
And that is why their advice on tracking your progress is so crucial. They suggest recording yourself answering these prompts on day 1 and then again on day 7. But they are very specific about what you should be listening for. You are not listening to play the grammar police on your own audio.
Right, you aren't hunting for missed prepositions.
Exactly. You are tracking 3 specific metrics of communicative success: fewer long pauses, clearer overall ideas, and faster recovery times when you do inevitably get stuck.
Because getting stuck is normal.
Totally. Every single time you successfully describe your way out of a forgotten word, you are hardwiring your nervous system to believe, I can survive this.
I can survive this. I love that.
The panic response diminishes, the confidence builds, and because your prefrontal cortex is no longer flooded with adrenaline, the next sentence actually becomes physically easier to generate.
We have covered so much ground today, really pulling apart this idea that knowing more means speaking better. Because the uncomfortable truth we started with is real. Hoarding vocabulary is paralyzing.
It really is.
Fluency isn't about memorizing your next 500 words. It is about making your first 500 words work relentlessly for you. By using speaking chunks to bypass the initial cognitive load, finding alternate routes for your ideas when the main road is blocked, and utilizing rescue phrases to hack your brain's panic response, you teach yourself that communication doesn't have to stop just because a single word is missing.
It really boils down to being resourceful rather than being perfect.
Yeah.
And if we pull back the lens, I want to leave you with a thought that extends far beyond just language learning. Think about how this core concept of using what you have applies to almost every ambition in life.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
How often do we postpone starting a new project, launching a business, or even trying a new hobby because we convince ourselves we don't possess the advanced tools yet?
Constantly.
We think we need the expensive software, the perfect degree, or the ultimate vocabulary list before we can take the first step. But what if true mastery in any skill isn't about acquiring the most complex, sophisticated tools before you begin?
Then what is it?
What if mastery is actually about becoming incredibly relentlessly resourceful with the basic tools you already hold in your hands right now?
That is such a powerful framework to end on. Why wait to read the whole library when the guidebook can get you out exploring the city today? Take that one simple idea, use your chunks, find your alternate routes, and try speaking your first thought today, even if it's messy. Keep the conversation moving, and we will see you on the next deep dive.